So, I was just on a trip last week to Sydney in New Zealand, and so much happened, and I did so much stuff that I didn't really feel like typing it all out. So, I'm making a video full of pictures and videos and funny stories about everything that happened. We left for Sydney on Thursday, which was Halloween, and it was four of us. It was Britt, Julie, Natalie, and I, and we flew down from Townsville. Our flight was delayed like 3 hours, and when we were in the air, we hit this turbulence, and I've hit turbulence before in my life, but like I really thought I was gonna die. The turbulence was insane. Once we got to Sydney, we got to our hostel and then got some food and decided to dress up for Halloween and go to one of the bars in town. We didn't really have costumes with us, so I had makeshift costume, which I hate cats, but I dressed as a cat just because I had a leopard shirt with me. The next day, we did our little touristy thing, headed out and walked down to Circular Quay, which is where the Sydney Opera House is and the Sydney Harbour Bridge. And it was so cool. I got goosebumps when I first saw the Opera House, just because I've seen it so many times in pictures and stuff, and to finally just see it in person right there was so cool. Later that day, Evan and Erica arrived, which got our group up to six. And that night, it was Friday night. We went to this one bar called Ivy, and we were trying to get there before 10:30 because that's when the cover charge was going to start. So we're literally running down the street just because time got away from us. So we get there like 10:25. Find out the cover charge starts at 10. So the cover charge was $20, so we just ended up going in anyway. And it was such a cool bar. There was like 5 stories. They had a pool bar. There was a total of like 13 bars in there. It was a lot of fun. Drinks were super expensive though, so at one point we left and like got our hand stamps and went to a different bar to get some cheaper drinks, and then ended the night at Ivy, where I got kicked out of the bar because I fell asleep on the couch. And I didn't hear the end of it. I still don't hear the end of it from my friends, just because I'm considered a grandma, because I always go to bed early. And here I am getting kicked out of a bar for falling asleep. Saturday was our last day in Sydney before we headed to New Zealand, and we were going to try to go to Bondi Beach, which is really famous. But we were on the subway on our way there, and the train stopped, and they were like, trains are stopped indefinitely. We advise everyone move to the buses. So there was just this rush of people going to the buses, and we stood there and waited for like a half an hour, and then the bus never even came. So we just ended up walking around the city. We were all really tired from the day before because we did so much walking. Saturday night, we walked back down to the Opera House and the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and had dinner. I got this really good like vegan pizza at this one Italian restaurant, and then we took the ferry over to Luna Park, which is like a 1920 something amusement park that's been restored, and it's like you can see it across the harbor. It's kind of famous. I don't know. I didn't really know about it till I got here, but it seems to be a big thing to do once you come to Sydney. So we went in there, and we didn't ride anything, but just like walked around and got some pictures. And over where the ferry dropped us off, it was a really cool view of the Sydney Opera House and the bridge all in one shot. Because when you're over on the other side where you get on the ferries, you can't see both in the same shot. So we got some pretty cool pictures. One of my favorite memories from this trip happened when we got back to the hostel on Saturday night. Evan and Erica didn't have any place to stay because they didn't book before they came, and all the hostels were booked. And since the four of us girls who got there on Thursday had our own room, we were going to try to sneak them in. But there was security at the door, security all the way up the stairs, so it was really hard to get in if you didn't have your room key. So it felt like Mission Impossible trying to get them in. But like Evan was all dressed up in his suit and tie, or his shirt and tie, from the opera that he saw. And so he was really like, you couldn't miss him. It was like a pink shirt. So I ended up going down like into the bar. I had my little room key with me. Into the bar in my pajamas, giving him like a change of clothes so he can try to sneak in. Thankfully, they both got in. It was real sketchy, but it's a pretty funny story, and I'm really happy that I have that memory. Sunday morning, we left really early for New Zealand. It was like a 2-hour flight from Sydney to Queenstown, and when we finally got to Queenstown, it was a freaking small airport. I could not even get over how small it was for being an international airport. But the moment I looked out the window when we were like approaching the runway to land, it was absolutely beautiful. We got to our hostel and then walked around the city for the rest of the afternoon. Since New Zealand is I guess 2 hours ahead of Sydney, we lost some time by flying over there. But we spent the rest of the afternoon looking around the city. It's a really small town, but it's absolutely beautiful. There's lakes and mountains all around, and yeah, like some really cute shops, and we got some lunch, and then later that night we were all so wiped out from traveling, so we just kind of hung out in the hostel and made these crazy videos. Since we did this trip through Global Links, it was like a package deal, so we got a few free nights at the hostel, and then one of the things we got with the package was a free trip to Milford Sound. And if you don't know what Milford Sound is, it's like a lake or a river. Honestly, I don't really know, but there's just mountains coming out of the water. It's so pretty normally in pictures, but we got there and it was raining and foggy. But overall, the tour was really cool. Like I said, it was a super long bus ride, but it was an absolutely beautiful bus ride. Scenes everywhere. Like, we stopped a couple places to take pictures. Pictures honestly don't do it justice, just because it's so beautiful, but like, even when I look at the pictures that I have now, I'm like, yep, looks fake. So it's just, you have to be there to experience it. It's absolutely amazing. We didn't really have anything planned for Tuesday, so we just walked around town and shopped. And then Tuesday night we had a reservation for the ice bar. It was called Below Zero, and probably one of my favorite memories from New Zealand. It was just such an awesome experience. It was really cool. We paid $40 for entry, and then you can stay in for as long as you want. And the longest someone ever has been in there was 3 hours, and we were in for 2 hours. So we gave them a run for their money. But with the $40, we got a coat to wear, gloves, and boots, which was awesome just because I had flip-flops and my toes would have frozen off if I didn't have that. But we also got 2 cocktails and a shot, and the cocktails come in like a cup made of ice, so it was really cool, and you just keep getting it refilled, and then by the time you're ready to leave the bar, they have like a little bin, and you just take your cup and just like smash it in the bin. So that was really cool. It was a lot of fun. They had a photo booth in there, and with like crazy little like hats and glasses and stuff. I loved it. I just had so much fun. The other thing included with our package through Global Links was a ticket for the gondola and a luge ride at the top. So in Queenstown, it was like maybe 2 blocks from our hostel. We just took the gondola up to the top of the mountain, I guess you could say, and Then we had a free luge ride, which was so much fun. It was like these concrete tracks, and you're on this little cart, and you just like steer it. I loved it. I went more than once, paying extra the second time. But while we were also up there, conveniently, it's where the bungee jump that I did was located. I'm really big on bucket list stuff, and whenever I can, I want to cross something off my bucket list. And since bungee jumping is on my bucket list, and New Zealand is the bungee jumping capital of the world, I couldn't say no. So I did the ledge bungee jump. I was really nervous before I went, so I get up to, the lady like takes my weight and like writes a number on my hand that corresponds with the like the size cord that they use or something like that. Um, but I'm standing in line over on the ledge, and there's a couple in front of me, and the guy just, he goes, and then his girlfriend was in front of me, and I was just standing there like, okay, like she's gonna go and then I'm gonna go. Well, it turns out that she was really skinny, so she needed like a smaller cord than I did. So they asked me, they were like, do you want to go next? And I'm just like, oh my god, like, not mentally prepared for it, but I went anyway. And it all happened so fast. I was shaking when I was trying to put my feet through the harness. And I go over to the ledge and like wave to my friends who are standing not that far from me, just overlooking like the jump. And then get my picture taken, and then the guy tells me to back up behind this red line. It was probably like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 feet from the edge, and he counts down from 5, and I'm just like, oh my god. So he goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and on 1 I just run and jump, and I didn't even think about it. It was so much fun. That was a 47-meter drop, which is like 140 feet, something like that. But I start to fall, and I'm like, this is awesome, and then I realize I'm still falling, and I just like kind of did a little bit of a freak out. But then the recoil, like when I bounced back up, I always thought it would be jerky, but not, like, wasn't even close. It was so smooth. I loved it. It was so much fun. I would definitely do it again. And then on Tuesday night, Evan and I found this buffet at the top of the gondola thing. So we had been itching for like a good meal. So we went and looked how much it cost, and it was a lot, but we went anyway. I ate so much food. It was ridiculous. But they had really good vegan and vegetarian options, so I was happy about that. But it was really good. And we had a lot of fun. We ended up going out again on Tuesday night just because we didn't really have anything else to do. So we ended up doing that after everyone else went home. Evan and I weren't ready to go to sleep yet, so we went to a casino, and he taught me how to play roulette, which was pretty fun. I've never been a big gambler, but I mean, roulette's pretty fun. Plus, we gambled away his money. Sorry, Evan. Thursday was our last full day in Queenstown, and we had a trip booked for a horseback trek through mountains and just like the valley and stuff like that. It was really cool. It was like a 2-hour ride, and I'll tell you what, I was certainly ready to get off the horse when it was over, just because my legs were killing me. Another thing on my bucket list is to go swimming in hot springs. So when I found out we were going to New Zealand, I instantly looked into that because it just seems like a place that would have that. They didn't, but they had, it was called hot pools, but it was pretty much a hot tub. You go in for an hour and you get like a private room, and then it's like there's like a garage door, but there's windows, but you can open it, and it's just like a river and like mountains. It was so pretty. Evan and I ended up going to that. I had fun. Friday morning, we flew out of Queenstown to Auckland, and then I had like a 3-hour layover there. And then flew to Brisbane and had a long layover there, and then finally made it back to Townsville. It was like 16 hours of traveling. Overall, this trip was so much fun, and I absolutely love the people I was with. They made it the best. Like, there's always that quote that's like, it's not where you are, it's who you're with. And even though we were in some amazing places in the world and saw some beautiful things, I had so much fun just because of who I was with.